Okay, everybody, as promised, I'm going to be making here another video for you guys to watch on YouTube. Ignore all this is a language file. But let's launch the game here, and I'll talk about the explosives I'm getting ready to show off. Now, I decided to work on 2 explosives recently before really messing with recipes. Although I finally got some recipe suggestions in. I'll show them here real quick. I'll drag stuff from my other monitor. Grogger, one of our asset developers who's amazing with recipes, decided to help out. So these are most likely going to be the recipes with slight adjustments. The remote detonator is going to be very simplistic, using iron rods for the antenna, redstone torches for batteries and stuff. I'm eventually going to replace these with actual battery items. This will be replaced with a button later. We're going to probably do like laser diodes here. But right now these are the temp recipes because Volts Engine, which needs to implement a whole bunch of more parts, just doesn't have the parts. The plan is to implement things like coils, actual antenna items, LCD displays, various of crafting parts that can be used to make more advanced electrical devices. Because right now these recipes are basic, and the more I keep adding to the recipes, the more conflicts start to happen. Like, you start to see a lot of recipes will start using still sheets in order to make casings. I'm going to be adding an actual casing block here later. A few other things. I'm also going to be adding a special crafting table down the road that'll just get completely rid of this crafting grid concept. Because the crafting grid, although is what Minecraft prefers for its recipes, it results in a very restricted set of recipes. Because in theory, you're only going to have somewhere near 100,000 plus combinations. I actually could probably do the math really quick. Because it's a permutation with replacement, so essentially it's, say the game maxes out at roughly 32,000 items, and we only have 27 slots. It gives you 864,000 possible combinations, and that's using every item available if we maxed out. Now, most mod packs end up only having somewhere around, I don't think it's even 1,000, because the default game has got roughly, I think, 500 items. And we'll say 800. So you normally only have 800 craftable items. And then you're not going to end up using all 9 slots. Actually, that previous calculation was off because I just timed it by 27 instead of 9. I'll redo that calculation in a second. But if we times by 9, that only gives us 7,200 possible combinations. And if you add, say, MBT to it, say some of your items have MBT, some you're not, estimated on average, you only have 15 MBT points. That only gets you up to 100,000 recipe combinations. That's using every available slot and every available item. This ends up going down because, on average, most recipes are only going to end up using about 5 slots. So we'll just divide this by 1.5. That gets us down to 72,000. Then you're also going to probably have a reduction in just the layout, because people aren't very inventive. Their layouts are almost always going to be consistent. You're going to cut that even half. Oh, wait, I need to divide that by 4. Derp. So you get down to 36,000 possible recipes, and that's using the parameters we've set up. You start getting even lower and lower. Well, actually, no, I did that math wrong, didn't I? Ignore this. I'm just going to scrap the idea of doing math for this, but because it's all guesswork. Statistically, probability, if I start pulling out a lot of my statistics stuff, I just failed that class, by the way. So my expert opinion on that is horrid. But statistically speaking, the probability of recipe layouts and other mods and everything results in a very high conflict. So the ideal is to build a crafting table down the road here for the use in Volts Engine and all the other mods that will use an item to list based recipe system instead of what Minecraft uses, which is a grid to item based recipe system. What this will allow is that, say we have 10 items, they all can have the same identical parts and still be craftable. Because instead of crafting from items to a single item, you're crafting from a single item to a list of items. And all it will do is simply say, okay, you need to have these items. So say we make 5 different drills. All 5 drills require an electric motor, whatever. But I'll talk about that more later when I implement it, which will probably be here. It varies. It can be anywhere from here in a week to a month. It all depends on how badly I want to stop being annoyed by these recipes. But the first explosive I'm going to show off is the ore updraft. I may change the name on this because I want to make a series of these missiles. This is the most primitive. It is a magic-based missile. I will be making tech-based versions later when I actually have proper crafting parts. But anytime I don't have a proper crafting part, it's a magic-based missile. But what this does is any ore it detects in a radius, it will pull it to the surface. Very useful if you're lazy and want to mine really quickly. But as you can tell, it only pulled a little bit of core ore up here. This only has a radius of 17, so it's not going to go to the bottom of the map. You'll need bigger missiles for that, and I'll end up supplying more. But I actually probably could do a crafting recipe real quick and fix that, because I know there's a bug with the yield ratios that if you stack 5 items into the yield, it some reason ends up in 1.7 meters, and this is times 10, so that ends up being 17 meters. In reality, this should be like 60 meters or something. But I'll fix that. There's actually a high probability that I'm going to just start making manual data sets, but let's find a spot that is a little closer to the ground and test this. Now, what this does is it, of course, pulls it all to the surface, but it checks for is replaceable, so it can replace grass, air blocks, water. It'll always try to put it on the surface, but of course, if you fire it repeatedly at the same spot, you're going to end up in the org just going in really weird spots. I don't even know where. I guess it popped over there. As you can tell, it just pulls to the surface. Easy to mine. It replaces the existing block with air. Now let's see, where's my instant hole? I really need to fix the texture listing. I still don't get this. The inventory items texture is missing, but then when you hold it in your hand, it fixes, and that's shouldn't really happen. Let's right click this and make a hole in the ground so I can see all the ore. There we go. Now, in theory, this should send all the ore to the bottom of the map because it's going to pull it to the surface, and the surface so just happens to be the bottom of the map. But as you can tell, it is working, so it is dragging the ore straight down. And some of the ores it's dragged up because there is actually blocks it can collide with. But, I mean, it's actually kind of nice. Reorders them a little bit here. There may be some loss of ore just because of the code's not that safe. I'm actually going to work on a new system to ensure 100% safe movement of a block. But to be honest, if you lose a block, I don't care as long as it doesn't duplicate. Anytime it duplicates, I want to know. That is actually an issue that I would fix immediately. But loss of ore, I really don't care. You see it deletes it. It's going to send that straight up to the top. There we go, diamonds. We're missing a couple diamond blocks. As I said, it is losing a bit of ore. It's just going to happen. There's no safe movement check. But it's ignorable as long as duplication doesn't happen. Oh wow, there's a lot of ore over here. In theory, by the way, if you're using this, what you want to do is just dig a hole straight down and get the Y level 15 and then just shoot the missile off randomly. I will, of course, be making grenades for these later, so you can actually end up just mining with the grenades and actual charge blocks that you can mount and set off. Because, of course, a missile is not the most user-friendly approach to doing this, especially since a lot of these missiles still will kill you if you fire at point blank. Because the engines actually explode on these if they have fuel left in them. Of course, the void thruster won't explode, but that's the void thruster. Now, since I said there was 2 explosives, the second explosive I'm going to show off. Actually, I'm also going to show off. I changed the missing icons now. They show up as a question mark, so you don't confuse them with TNT. The creeper now has a custom icon, and so does the gunpowder. But what I'm going to be showing off is the biome shift charges. Now, if this added a ton of charges to the list because it actually iterates over every biome in the game and adds an explosive for it. I will be adding crafting recipes to some of these, but not all of these. So most of these will end up becoming admin-only utility missiles. And that'll be for a lot of the Thaumcraft ones because I've been pointed out by several developers that making biomes appear in dimensions they're not supposed to will cause issues. But let's grab a random one. I'm going to be putting names on these. I haven't got through it yet. I just got these done sometime yesterday. And well, actually, let me phrase this. Technically, it's yesterday, but I got them done only like 13 hours ago. And then I finally passed out and slept after 3 days of no sleep. But these shift the biomes. Right now, we are sitting in a birch forest. If I shoot this, we're now at a frozen river. Now, the textures don't update immediately. The biome ID will update on your client, but I believe I have to log out and log back in for the renders to update. I will attempt to fix this later, but it was a bit of a pain just getting the IDs to update locally. Yeah, here we go. All the colors have changed. I think I just have to run a re-render on the chunk, and that will fix it. But these just changed the biome IDs. This is all these explosives do. I will make another series of these that actually will remap blocks in the radius to the biome's expected block value. So it'll turn, say, you were doing a desert biome, it'll turn sand, or turn dirt into sand, and if you hit a desert biome with another one, it'll turn sand into dirt. Trying to keep consistent. And I'll also make an attempt to change the trees and stuff like that, but that will be a different series of blasts. I will also be making another creative tab for these because you can tell this has now become pretty bad to search through. I also got a ton of missing icons. The search bar is at the top though, so you can, as you just type in, say biome, and you'll find all the biome blasts. Type in, say, TNT, all the TNT blasts. So there is a search bar in the creative mode. That does help. But other than that, that's about it. I'm going to try to implement the recipes here shortly. I am planning several more explosives here. I'm going to be doing several explosives that mess with villagers. Doing various things like turning them into zombies, turning them back out of zombies, messing with their trade values, deleting their trade values, turning them into emeralds. We're making explosives that turn cacti into creepers and creepers into cacti. Make a few explosives that catch oil on fire. I've got them already pre-laid out and ready to go, and I'm going to be probably popping off maybe one a day here for the next week, and then I probably after that will maybe do 2 a week, because I can just sit here and make explosives all day long. I will take all the suggestions you want to give me. People have already suggested quite a few. I have a list of over 100 different explosives that people have suggested. I would like to see that list go to 1,000, because I can just do this all day. I plan to implement a lot of support for mods. So for mods like Explosive Plus, I'm going to go through and attempt to add a warhead converter for every one of their explosives. So some of them will convert over to my warheads, some of them will just wrapper so that they can run, so you can fire missiles with their explosives. I'll try to add support for things like IC2's nukes and several other mods. A few mods will end up probably requiring either support from the developer themselves or a separate mod. I know I'm going to be doing, I already have some Thaumcraft support right now, but I'm going to be moving all the Thaumcraft support out of ICBM to a separate mod because it's causing a few issues with running inside the mod itself when Thaumcraft loads. So I'm just going to do a separate mod for that, because what that lets me do is I can better manage the Thaumcraft support, and I can offer several versions for different Thaumcraft versions. So I'm not dependent directly on Thaumcraft in ICBM, and then the add-on is not directly dependent on anything else. So the ICBM version can change, and it wouldn't matter. Because all the explosive code is built into Volt's engine, and it's built so well that any mod can come in and add explosives, and ICBM will automatically pick up on them. As long as there's a crafting item, because there's actually like another 13, 14 explosives that do not show up in this list because they do not have crafting items. That'll be all the Thaumcraft ones right now because they have no crafting items. They do exist though, they do function. There's tons of test ones that do not show up in here because they don't have crafting items. A lot of them have to be spawned in. What else about it? Oh yeah, I also fixed some of the fragmentation explosives not showing up. And also you can see there's that bug I was talking about where you go from 3 meters to like 51 meters and then down to 8. It's a mathematical error, and I will end up fixing it. But seeing as I'm out of video time, I will have to make an